Hey, Steve.
Hi, Keith.
I have a joke for you.
Go for it. Lay it on me.
How do you keep an idiot waiting?
Am I the idiot now? Because I waited.
Dude, I laughed right away when my son told me that joke. I actually told him that we were going to record an episode, and then it was just going to be silence for the next 20 minutes after that.
Yeah, I mean, I got the joke right away, but I was like, how do we play this?
The new Dad Rock! Dad by day! Podcaster by night! Host Keith and Steve, two college radio DJs in the 90s, helped expose bands like Nirvana, Pavement, and PJ Harvey. They went to shows, interviewed musicians, and reviewed albums from various Zion papers. They worked security at concerts and once, even did loading for fish. Now, they're dads. Whether you want to explore lesser-known music or take a trip down memory lane, tune to the new Dad Rock. Join host Keith and Steve as they navigate the ages together, sharing a love of music across various eras and genres. Always well-intentioned, often well-informed, seldom boring. The new Dad Rock will expand your mind.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no good way to play it is what I was thinking. I mean, do you think that's what John Cage was thinking when he did his 434? 444? 424. 432. You know the John Cage song where he opens the piano, doesn't play anything?
But do we know the length of it?
I just named 4 lengths. I think one of them's correct. All right. 1993 was a very good year for me.
When I was 17, it was a very
I was not 17.
good year.
Speaking of people as old as Sinatra, you know The Cure has a new album out.
I do. Songs of the Lost World. And this was a very oft-delayed, almost Chinese democracy-esque album, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, except that it's good.
By the way, it's 433.
The album's amazing. It's only 8 songs, but it's 8 great songs. Actually, 7 great songs. I skipped the first one, which was a single. It has a very long intro, and I just don't do that anymore.
I'm mixed about that intro because it truly is like classic The Cure, like what's the first song on Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me?
The Kiss.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes of that going in. But I feel like they cheated. I feel like this was a loop.
All their music sounds like droney in that sense. So it could have been
droney, repetitive, krautrock, yeah, I get that. But this to me, I feel like was the cheat.
It may have been, but what's interesting about this album for them, or for most bands, they played a lot of these songs live before they recorded them over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a different vibe than when you record a song or make it in the studio and then you play it live later and it evolves. So these are sort of really good captures.
Did they record after the tour, though, or did they record it and then play it on tour? Because I feel like, and I haven't done the research on this.
Yeah, me neither. This is fun, though.
But I feel like the recording was fraught. And it took a long time. And yes, last year on the Songs of the Lost World tour, they played, like almost the whole album, and they would play like 2 or 3 songs each night.
Yeah.
I streamed a bunch of those shows, and I even when they played Madison Square Garden, I even got a shirt from the official.
Did you really?
Table. I did.
You went to the Cure show?
I went to the Cure show. I didn't go into the Cure show, but I did like watch a video stream of it like the next day or the next week.
Wait, is that because you like left from work, were going home, you were passing Madison Square Garden, and you bought a shirt?
Yeah, it was literally go down the escalator to my train or go up the escalator. And Robert Smith made a whole big deal about the last tour about Ticketmaster screwing people over. So he was really adamant about keeping the prices of tickets down. And they did the same thing with merch. Like the official merch, the T-shirt was $25, or it might have even been $20.
Wait,
I think it was $25. The official ones.
They were selling the official merch outside the venue?
Most places do that. They'll have a merch table set up right in the foyer.
That's very cool. I respect that.
Yeah.
Right on.
A lot of places do that where, especially when bands are very big and like fans really like the merch. So they'll open that up before the doors open. So
Gotcha. Cool.
So you can sell. So yeah, I walk upstairs, I bought a shirt, was like, cool, this is awesome. I went down on the train, went home, took an extra 5 minutes of my day.
Do you wear the shirt out at all?
I mean, I wear it around sometimes. Like if the mood calls for a black band t-shirt.
Dude, they're all black. I hate band t-shirts. Like 80-90% are black. And I have no black band t-shirts. I have one tie-dye black one that from the OCs, but
I got a Les Claypool Frog Brigade one that was dark green. And part of the reason I got it was because
it's dark green. Yeah. Makes total sense.
Do a navy shirt. I mean, every once in a while they'll throw out a white shirt and that's not even as good.
I avoid that as well. Except the challenge is then you have like King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard have like this horrible olive green color that I had to buy.
So speaking of King Gizzard, they did an amazing thing with their 2 legs of a U.S. tour that started at the beginning of August, maybe the very end of July. They took the month of October off, and then they just finished up with 3+ weeks in the States again in November. And they live streamed every single show. They put, I think, every show or just about every show available on Bandcamp for download, and it's a name your own price download. And they encourage people to bootleg it. So you could just download the official stems from King Gizzard and make your own album if you wanted.
That's fun. Today I played not a new dad, I played a dad, and I drove my son an hour 45 minutes from where I live to York, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, according to the internet, which I'm not sure I believe anymore, it was actually the first capital of the United States or something. It's where the Articles of Confederation were written, which is pre-Constitution, right? That's like 1787 type level stuff. Mm-hmm. So he played soccer. Then I drove him an hour 45 minutes back. On the way there, I'm like, I got to do some research. I put on the 1993 playlist. And what do you think the first song is? And not only was it the first song, but I think it's the definitive song of 1993.
Loser by Beck.
Okay, that is it. And
yes,
fine. Whatever, dude. I think that sort of proves the point. I mean, yeah, it's such a great song.
It was ubiquitous. It
really was. I mean, he was a one-hit wonder at that point. And we kind of talked about this last time. Like, Radiohead Creep could have been a one-hit wonder. And then they weren't. Right. But Beck, Loser, yeah.
Beck for a couple of years was considered a one-hit wonder. And then Oddity came out and he became huge. But just to show you, this is my definition of the new dad rock. That album, Mellow Gold, that Loser is part of, is awesome. Like, almost every song on that album is great. So
that's true.
You know, even if all he ever did was Loser, and you know he had already put out One Foot in the Grave,
which is a great album. No other album sounds like it either. Yeah,
another great one. So yeah, he was already at legendary status. So he definitely avoided being a one-hit wonder, though I could have seen a world where that would have happened.
Yeah, Oddity is his best album, possibly in my top 10, definitely in my top 20 albums.
Yeah, so we've been saying in the last couple of episodes that there's a state of flux to going on. The world is spinning around and trying to figure out its way. And in 1993, Loser being the song of the year and a couple other things that were hugely popular, music adjacent, one of which was Beavis and Butthead, which played little clips of videos. And the other one also is the Ren and Stimpy show, which became a weekly institution. I remember, when the new episodes came out, people would gather around and watch the show. And I know for a fact that in 1993, you had the Ren and Stimpy soundtrack CD, and we listened to it in our room in college.
What rolls downstairs alone and in pairs? It rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's log. It's log. Yeah. It's okay.
And then don't whiz on the electric fence.
Okay.
So I listened to that. I found that some reason that popped in my head today, and I found it. And that soundtrack is actually like a pretty fun jazzy album. It's not like, Charlie Brown has the jazz music soundtrack as well, but it's jazz, but a totally different type of jazz. It's not Vince Guaraldi. It's a little bit more beboppy, but overlaid with Ren and Stimpy. So remind the listeners who Ren and Stimpy is, because I'm sure there are people who either forgot or don't know who it is.
Dude, I'm pretty sure most people don't know who Ren and Stimpy were, and certainly didn't know then. But it's Is it
It's an
psychotic chihuahua?
Show.
It's animated, and there's like a dog and a cat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ren is the chihuahua dog, and
he's
Stimpy's
very angry and short and like has
psychotic.
Yeah, he's psychotic.
Yeah. Stimpy's a good-natured, dim-witted cat.
Almost dog-like, if you will.
Oh, that's so funny.
The stereotype of a dog in cartoons. And they just get into all sorts of hijinks.
Back in the day, the 90s, you actually get 5 to 10 channels. Now, you even in your basic like YouTube subscription, you get 80 or 100 or whatever. So you pretty much get way more on the internet. But back then, like this is actually a cable channel. And we're in college, so no one has cable channels. So we had to go to...
You had to pay extra.
Yeah. So we went to a townie's house, like one of our friends who's a townie. That's someone who lives in the town where college is, but doesn't go to college there. But we'd go to his house, and like 10, 20 of us would sit around and watch the show once a week live.
So where I'm going with this, in 1993, these are the things that are popular. Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy, and Beck. Just very skewered, very weird, just pushing the boundaries of mainstream.
Dude, Beavis and Butthead, like, I don't think modern society would exist without Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead were like pre-internet internet. It was, right? Like, because like it's well, they're animated. That's a different problem. But like, it's two guys watching something, music videos, right? That's what they watch, making fun of it the whole time. So like,
it's like the precursor to Twitch. Like people watching people play video games. These are two guys. You're watching two guys watch videos on MTV and also get into assorted hijinks.
Yeah.
But
wow.
But this is an era that, they could take a band like White Zombie just by making a comment and they go from like some bar band to selling out stadiums. They make the Butthole Surfers were a popular, like on the charts band in 1993. Like, I don't know what happened. We talked about the political undercurrents in the last couple of episodes, but what had happened here is I think everybody went through the looking glass or something because it was a weird scene out there. Like, I think people touching the void of, listening to Nirvana and Pearl Jam and, it broke their mind. And then this is what's there left looking at you.
Yeah, I mean...
Mercury Rev, Dinosaur Jr., Quicksand.
I'm just surprised how important MTV was back in the early 90s. Like, they started, 81? So it's like a dozen years later. And they're very important, right? Like, Ween was on MTV Spring Break, but with Pauly Shore.
Oh, my God, Brother Weeze, Pauly Shore, dude. What was going on in 1993? What a crazy, crazy world that was.
Dude, you come out of 12 years of the Reagan-Bush administrations, right? Clinton's been elected.
Yeah, it's literally the first year of Democrat rule since 1980. And look at what has happened. Everyone is like losing their mind artistically.
Yeah, I was in college, so I have no idea about the economy, but maybe the economy starts going well. But either way, any of these things have to start a couple years beforehand. It's not like you could write Beavis and Butthead and put it online the next day. This stuff would take years, right? From inception to getting distribution to getting online is my guess. Maybe not years, but a while for sure.
Well, these people were probably, eating a steady diet of hair metal and cheesy R&B from the late 80s and into the early part of the 90s. And this was that's probably the output, this skewed mind. They were going crazy because they're like, how is this the popular thing? And you say you made the point about MTV. Like, MTV still showed videos. I remember in 1993 all those stop motion Tool videos for Sober and Prison Sex. Those,
so good.
It was almost like The Nightmare Before Christmas, Harry Selick, that stop motion animation.
It was like AI before AI, meaning that like there was this style going through that wasn't live and wasn't drawn. Which is what AI feels like now. But is this 30 years ago? Wow, 31 years ago. Yeah. Woo! Hey, what do you still listen to from 1993?
I look at the bands from 93, and there's a lot of bands that I really appreciate, and I feel like I should listen to them more. And that's a band like Archers of Loaf. So remember the whole Chapel Hill sound of 93.
That's a good one.
Superchunk, Small 23, Polvo. But I feel like Archers of Loaf I would listen to more, but they kind of got back together a couple of times in the last decade. And for me, it was a little disappointing. So that kind of hurt my head.
Whoa. Wait, I went to their concert.
But it was billed as Archers of Loaf, right? It
wasn't. Hold on. Yeah, actually, now I'm excited. Let's see what their set list says. I'm just curious because, they put in 2023. So that sounds. No, I moved here in 2023. Oh, yeah. Wait, did I see them in San Francisco when I was visiting? I think that's what happened. I think I have to go back to San Francisco for work 3-4 times a year.
I think this might have even been covered in an episode, to be honest.
Yeah, do you listen to all our episodes? I don't. So February 8th, 2023, they played. Dude, they have so many classic songs. Greatest of All Time, Smoking Pot in the Hot City, Audio Whore.
The whole Icky Metal album, which came
Plumb Line, Wrong. Yeah, sick. Oh, that's their definitive album. Yeah.
Yeah, Icky Metal, 1993,
Woo!
Which is why we're talking about him.
Luckily.
That I will still put on. And another one, and this is a band that also broke up for a long time but got back together recently, is Quicksand. And that album, Slip, is just, it's hardcore alt metal merging together before that was ever a thing.
Yeah.
So they kind of paved the way for Tool to get in there. And they paved the way for later bands like Baroness, I would say.
Yeah, no. This makes sense. So I got to tell you, Quicksand and Helmet, I'm not sure they're adjacent to you, but they are to me. Like, there was this heavy side. Tool, actually, Sober was a very good example, is whatever that sound is, I liked. There's other stuff I didn't like, but I like that side of it. And it was grouped in with alternative, which is, or college radio.
Yeah, it was alt metal. So you had Bubbling Under the Surface, you had bands like Lard and Ministry and all those Alan Jorgensen
amazing
products, KMFDM. So you had a little bit of the industrial sound. You had 9 Inch Nails, of course.
Wait, was someone in Lard? Was Lard actually like was Les Claypool in Lard?
Lard was Jello Biafra.
Oh,
Alan Jorgensen.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was not a super group, but a special group.
Yeah, and then the last of the albums that I wanted to mention that I still will listen to, and I actually had it on today, and I was glad I did. Mercury Rev Bosse's.
Oh, that's from 93? Wow.
That is. So the first 2 Mercury Rev albums, this is before Jonathan Donahue and Grasshopper took over the band. At this point, they're a 6-piece ensemble that all went to SUNY Fredonia.
Woo! Fredonia!
Who's the famous producer? Dave Friedman, right?
Yeah, the bassist,
Yeah, he was the early, he's originally part of that band, and then he went on to become a producer. And their first 2 albums and the associated B-sides, EPs, and singles that go along with it are totally discordant, kaleidoscopic melanges of kitchen sink sound, and very epitomizes the early 90s. It's just fantastic. Now, Mercury Rev, who put out an album in 2024, Jonathan Donahue and Grasshopper broke it off and took it much more in a scenic orchestral way.
Yeah.
Probably put out 2 classic albums with in that direction, but have put out several albums, and it's a mood.
It is a mood.
What do you still listen to from?
I mean, I've almost said this too much, but the Smashing Pumpkins Siamese Dream, right? I remember playing that summer. Was I an orientation advisor, and people would sign in? I think I did 8 2-day orientations, and during sign-in it'd be 2-3 hours when people would come and get their stuff and and I'd put this on, I'd put Fish on, and I don't know why I was allowed to pick music. That seems like a bad idea, but yeah, Smashing Pumpkins Siamese Dream. I actually heard today. That's weird. Yeah, but I mean, I actually think
it's the greatest day I ever know.
Mayonnaise, Cherub Rock. I mean, all the songs are good. I think that's what's cool about that album. All the songs are good. I also heard Heart Shaped Box, but Utero is not my favorite Nirvana album. I do want to say this, though. One of the times, and you don't have to do this anymore. I mean, you have to stay up to midnight to hear the new albums. But back then, record stores would stay open at midnight so you could buy the latest albums. I think they come out on Tuesdays back then. And I remember you and I drove up to the House of Guitars in Rochester to get the second Pearl Jam album.
Yes. Yes, we did.
All right.
Yeah.
What else do I want to say about this amazing year? It's Wait, I got one thing. Go.
Go ahead.
No, you.
Well, you mentioned this band earlier, Fish.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. The same thing. It was the first year I listened to Fish was that summer, and Frank put me onto them with Bouncing Around the Room, and I just saw that you said Rift came out that year.
I don't know if it's anyone's favorite album, but it's among everyone's favorites because it has so many classics on there, like Lengthwise and Maze and Sparkle, My Friend, It's Ice, Silent in the Morning. Did I say that already?
No, you didn't.
So many, yeah.
I think people are willing to say it was the best studio album.
Yeah, I think I would go with that. And that dark blue cover is very soothing.
It is. I mean, sleepy. Oh, didn't the cover have every song was symbolized on there, like sleeping lengthwise, and it was the morning. The blue was the early morning. So if I recall,
no one was there, so the guy's sleeping diagonal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, is there a horse in that one? No, that's Hoist afterwards. Yeah. Wow. Hey,
but it's funny we were listening to that and also Rage Against the Machine
and Quicksand,
Dinosaur Jr. and
oh, and Cypress Hill came out this year, or at least that's what.
Oh my god, yeah.
Dude, I heard that and my son knew the song because of TikTok, I guess. But Insane in the Membrane, Insane in the Brain. Oh, I got it backwards. Hey, someone we've talked about before, but we haven't covered yet this episode. Actually, you might have said his name once. Tom Waits. This is a pretty big year for him, right?
Yeah. So in '92 was, and I can't believe we didn't talk about it last week because it's one of
so much good music. So much good music.
Yeah, The Bone Machine comes out.
Yep.
And that was his first album in 5 years, but he changed his sound. So in the 70s, he was a troubadour, a barroom singer. In the 80s, he became that noisier, he had a certain style that the 3 albums in the 80s. And then in the 90s, he diverged a little bit more, the next step in the evolution. And 92, Bone Machine comes out, one of his top 5, ask any Tom Waits fan. And then in 93, The Black Rider. Like, how crazy is this album?
So crazy that in 2000, I'm making up a year, 15, maybe 2012, I saw a Black Rider play in San Francisco.
Yeah. So Black Rider is an opera, and it's written by Tom Waits, William Burroughs, and Robert Wilson, who's a famous avant-garde opera producer or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And they put together this thing, and it's essentially, the time-old tale about this man, a hunter in the woods finds
a deal with the devil.
Man.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's basically offering him a magic bullet.
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
He's like, here, all of these bullets, wherever you want them to go, they will go wherever you aim, but I've reserved one bullet. And of course, in the end, that one bullet that the devil reserves, the man has to shoot his wife, his true love. Because that's how the deal with the devil always works.
Dude, such a Greek tragedy, right? It sounds like a play as old as lore. I have a question.
A tale as old as time.
Did he lived in New York for like the 70s and maybe the 80s, and then he moved to California, right? Or something like that?
He grew up in California.
Okay.
I want to say he lived in New York only from... If it was the 70s, it was like 79, and it was like through the mid 80s. And then he moved back to California, where he grew up in Southern California, like Pomona, LA area. And he, from the mid to late 90s on, has lived in Petaluma.
Petaluma, dude. Oh my God. By the way, Petaluma, you could have bought the greatest place in Petaluma in the 90s for not that much money, which is good for a musician, right? So it sounds like Frank's Wild Years might have been written or recorded, like might have either been the last New York album or the first not New York album.
Yeah, it was Frank's Wild Years. It was Swordfish Trombones, and it was
Swordfish Trombones.
Those three are a
Holy
trilogy
shit.
from the 80s.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, those are top 3, right? With Bone Machines.
Yeah, that's 4. Right. That's right after he met his wife, Kathleen Brennan, and they started collaborating together, and she kind of opened him up to, the Captain Beefheart sound. You know,
I see.
I don't think he knew Captain Beefheart, so that direction. And then he got to that noisy clanking. And since The Bone Machine was his first collaboration with Les Claypool, so Les Claypool and or Primus has appeared on every one of Tom Waits' albums since then, I believe. And there's a duet on one of the Primus albums, The Coattails of a Dead Man, Tom Waits sings. And Tom Waits, of course, is Tommy the Cat, the voice of Tommy the Cat in that song.
What the... Really?
Yes.
I must have known this 30 years ago. Wow.
I remember it. That was as though we're a meal ago, said Tommy the Cat.
Dude, that Les Claypool also sounds like that. That's all I'm saying. Or he can sound like that.
He does it live.
Oh, that's fair.
On the actual album.
Okay.
Tom Waits was in the video, speaking of MTV.
Yeah, I don't watch videos. But
back then we did.
This explains why MTV got away from the video format, because no one watches a video. I mean, I don't know. Interesting.
Well, that's why Beavis and Butthead was so smart, because you could, in the wasn't it 15 minutes segments? You could throw 6 videos in.
Oh, 100%. Oh, totally.
And then, so every half an hour, you're still playing 12 videos.
Yeah, exactly. And it's conversational, and it's like you're hanging out with someone even if you're not. And it's hysterical.
The short narrative.
Totally.
I think this was the pendulum swung pretty far into the weirdness in 93, and it definitely got pulled back and commoditized. But man, that dam that Nirvana broke and they signed every weird act out there, this really came to fruition in our sounds in 1993.
Yeah, and I mean, to sum it all up, the Judgment Night movie and soundtrack came out in 1993. If I recall, that's 16 tracks of a rock band being paired with a rap band, writing 16 original songs that went with the movie that had Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Jeremy Piven in it. I don't think I ever saw the movie, but I heard the soundtrack over and over and over again.
The soundtrack was amazing. Faith No More and Booyah Tribe, Slayer and Ice-T, Cypress Hill and Sonic Youth.
Oh my God.
Biohazard and who is that one? Slam! Onyx and Biohazard.
I can't believe your recall. It's total.
That was a great album. And I'm amped up, man.
Yeah.
1993. This is the new dad rock.
Yeah, the year we couldn't sleep at night.